Yeah, I spoke with actor, producer, director. Yeah, actor, producer, director, Michael Flores from Villain Life Films. And he told me they're almost done filming the movie Sancho Claus. It's a comedy. It's going to be a very good comedy. Uh, the lawyer, my friend Mr. Rosenberg, told me that he was on set, and it's going to be very funny. It's a Latino comedy in English, Sancho Claus. And as soon as Michael told me, the director, producer, actor, he told me that as soon as they're done, they're going to start working on my project. So it's looking pretty good, people. Um, I trust him. He's. You can Google him. You can tell he's my kind of person. He's done pretty much the same things that I've done in life, and he's a success story. America loves success stories. This gentleman is doing really good. He's a family man now, and he's still for the gente. So he's gonna help me with my project, and it's looking good. This lady asked me today. See, I trust Mr. Flores because, like I said, I feel he's been there, done that, just like me, and so there's a bond there. A lady asked me if I'm scared people will steal my story because I've been posting like my stories on the internet, and I said no because everything that I've done can be verified. It's all been documented in 115 write-ups, court cases, correctional officers know my story as well. So everything that I've done is documented and can be verified. And if somebody was to do that, I mean, I would have a very strong case to sue them because, like I said, everything will point to my life story and things that I've done. So, no, I'm not worried about that lady that asked me this today on the internet. No, because, like I said, everything I've done can be verified, and a person would get sued for stealing my story. Once again, it's all on prison records, my C file, my correctional file that is kept in Sacramento. Everything, once again, is all documented through the courts, the LA County Superior Courts, and all that. So yeah, and when it comes to Mr. Michael Flores, once again, I trust him, even though we haven't met, face to face. I feel a connection with him because I've seen his profile. I've talked to him over the phone a few times already, and I feel comfortable with him. But yeah, if anybody else was to steal the story that him and I will be working on, I would have grounds to a lawsuit. So I don't think anybody would do that. And if they do, then I'll just hire an attorney and let them deal with it. So just wanted to share that with you guys. I'll continue on with my story. I'll be touching on when I became a federal employee for the United States Department of Agriculture Forest Service. See, I don't just want to talk to the kids about my old violent ways. I don't want to just touch on that. I want to touch about on some positive uh, uh, experiences that I had in my life as well. Like when I became, a federal employee, as an ex-felon. I got hired onto the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission as a Type 1 wildland firefighter. I got assigned to the Vertified Hotshot Crew, which is in the Angeles National Forest, Santa Clarita, California, what us firefighters know as the Los Angeles River Ranger District. My barracks were at the Vertified Ranger Station, my hotshot barracks, Vertified Hotshots. So, once again, all that can be verified, and you can Google it and see. It's not an inmate crew. I was on parole. That's why they ended up firing me, because my parole agent said I couldn't fly. Being an interagency hotshot crew, we sometimes deploy to the Philippines for a volcano eruption, or we can be in Mexico for an earthquake, or in Costa Rica for a volcano eruption, or in Florida for a hurricane, or in Kansas for a tornado. We do anything that has to do with first response. We don't just do wildfires. We do car breaks. A car goes over the side of a mountain up in the Angeles National Forest, and it's so far away from the city that city firefighters can't make it there in time, so we get deployed. dispatched to that accident. Being that we're trained in CPR and first response and first aid, we can hike down the side of that mountain and rescue those people. That's why we carry knives that can cut through seatbelts and break windows. The knife has a little pick on the end of it what we can use to break windows, and on that same knife there's a little slot that cuts through the seatbelt. It's called a first responder's knife. A lot of police officers carry them too, because they sometimes have to free people from accidents as well. So anyhow, I'll be touching on that, how I became certified, how I received my red card, my qualification notification, that is my qualifications that is noted on that red card, that I can work around C4, plastic explosives, dynamite that we use to blow up trees, C4 plastic explosives that we use to do a backfiring operation. That's a way of fighting fire with fire. Like we'll blow up a line of trees with dynamite or C4, and those little explosions that blow up the tree will cause these little fires to ignite from the explosion, and then the main fire has so much energy that it'll suck these little fires into it, and it'll burn out that line of trees, and that will be a natural barrier because the fire can't burn fuel that's already been burnt. See, that's or mineral soil when we cut a fire line with our chainsaws and scrapers, Pulowskis. Once we cut that fire line to mineral soil, the fire cannot continue to burn because the fire triangle consists of heat, oxygen, and fuel. Any one of those elements that you take away from that fire triangle, the fire gets contained. So if we can fight fire with fire, a backfiring operation by blowing up a line of trees, once again the main fire has so much energy, it'll suck these little fires into it and it'll burn out the fuel. So the fire can't continue to burn up. So we only do that when there's immediate structure threat. There's cabins, ranches, homes up on the ridge there, and the fire's burning up slope, and that causes what we call an immediate structure threat. So we don't have time to cut a fire line, so we use our plastic explosives or dynamite that we carry in our backpacks to fight fire with fire once again. A backfiring operation. So I'll be touching on those subjects as well with you kids. I always remember this one incident where I was already a firefighter and I got fired because my battalion chief didn't like the way I looked because of my tattoos. We got hit with a C-130, did a water drop, and it knocked us all on our butts. Our tools went flying that way, our backpack that way, and we were soaking wet. So the two ladies, Marcella and Heather, they had to go behind some bushes over there, and those guys had to go over there. And in our backpack, in our waterproof backpacks, we carry a dry set of clothing because we're always getting hit with water drops and what have you. So our soup said, you guys go in your backpacks, you ladies go over there, go in your backpacks, get your clothes out, change out of those wet clothes, and let's continue to, cut line. So, like I said, us guys went behind those trees, the girls went over that way, and we were there coming out of our wet clothing because that C-130 dropped a retarded drop on us, and we were soaking wet, full of that orange slime. Oh, it was a mess. But anyhow, the battalion chief, Dick McCombs, happened to see me with my shirt off, and he didn't like, he said, I'm not going to repeat what he said, but he said, what's that WB with all the tattoos doing, working for the Forest Service? He gives us a bad name, get rid of him. So next thing you know, my agent was notified, and they told him that I could fly 1 minute, I can be in Arizona on a fire assignment. Next thing you know, there's a volcano eruption in Costa Rica, and we're on the next plane flying out to Costa Rica, and then from Costa Rica there could be a freaking earthquake in Mexico. So we'll fly to Mexico and help the first responders out there, and next thing you know, the World Trade Centers happened, and we could be dispatched to Ground Zero and help, the firefighters in New York City to participate in the bucket brigade, passing the human remains up to the medical examiners up in the front. Or we can be deployed to a tornado in Kansas City. And then we're there, and next minute from Kansas City, we're getting dispatched to a freaking hurricane in Florida, and then from there we're going dispatched out to Oregon for a wildfire, or to Alaska because there's a flood. You know, it was a big uh, because of the global warming, caused the ice glacier to melt, and it caused the city of Anchorage, Alaska, to become flooded. So we had to go and make sandbags and help out with sandbagging the place up so the flood wouldn't go on into the city streets of Anchorage, Alaska. So, 1 minute we'll be in Alaska, and next minute we'll be in the Philippines for a volcano eruption or a earthquake in Mexico, whatever. So my agent said, there's no way he can do that being on active parole. He needs to come here to the office in person and get written permission. And that idiot Dick McComb said, well, he can't do that because 1 minute, like I said, they'll be in Arizona. Next thing, they'll be on the next flight to the Philippines for a volcano eruption. They're interagency. That means they respond anywhere they enter another agency. Interagency gets deployed anywhere, being federal. So my agent said, well, he can't do that job then. And next thing you know, they put me on administrative leave. I got the letter from Pennsylvania, or Independence Way over there at 1600 Independence Way, I think it was, where the White House is. Or Secretary of the USDA, Van Veneman, at the time under the Bush administration. Her office was right down the hall from the Oval Office, from Bush's office. So I got a letter from them saying I was being put on administrative leave. So that caused me to rebel. I hit the county jail for, I had a broken shoulder. I wrecked my car, and they found out I was high and stuff, and they got me for reckless driving while under the influence. And next thing you know, I hit the county jail, and now I'm no longer a gang member. I'm now a firefighter. The deputies didn't know that, so they put me back in high power. And next thing you know, this dude's disrespecting one of the officers that we usually get taken out in handcuffs because we're in one-man cells. They'll take us out of our cell in handcuffs to the shower. I'll shower, then I'll come back to my cell. They'll slam the gate closed, take the cuffs off. Then they'll go to the next cell, have that person back up. They'll handcuff him, open his cell, walk him to the shower, bring him back, slam his gate closed, uncuff him, and go to the next cell. See, that day the guard didn't cuff this dude from Pomona, and he came out in a bad mood, and he thought that the cop wasn't going to come on the tier. So he started disrespecting him because he's like, don't go back there and shake everybody's hand and work your way up to the front of the shower. Bullshit. Walk straight to the shower, and he didn't listen. He went all the way to the back, and like we always do, and shake everybody's hand down the line till we go to shower. And he said, no, I'm not in the mood for all that shaking hands today. I'm running behind. Go straight to the shower, Mr. So-and-so. And he's like, F you, I'm going to the back. So that guard said, all right, you want to play stupid? And he came on the tier and he slapped him. Dude was a big dude. He could have fought right there. He had no cuffs on. Instead, after he gets slapped, they told him, get your ass in the cell. And he was in handcuffs once again. He could have fought his own battle. But no, he goes in the cell because his homeboy's there, another loudmouth like him. They pump everybody up to sell a strike. I have a broken shoulder once again. I just got arrested and for crashing my Honda Civic on the freeway, going back to San Pedro on the 110 to my girl's pad, Candy. I was on the way there, and I ended up crashing. I was all high on black, and I nodded out and crashed. And now I got a broken shoulder with a sling on, and now we got to sell extract. I'm telling the dudes, man, why didn't he fight his own battle? He wasn't in handcuffs. Why do we have to fight his freaking battle? And they're like, well, you sit out of it then if you don't want to get involved. Him and his homie, they ganged up on me. And the other kids that were on the tier, they were all youngsters. They didn't know no better. They were like, yeah, they were hearing my argument, like, why should we fight your battle? You were out on the tier without cuffs when he came in and slapped you. Why didn't you fight then? So why should we have to fight your battle? It's bullshit. And they're like, well, you stay out of it. I'm like, no, fuck that. If you guys are all going to sell extract, I'm going down with you. Next thing you know, I get beat down because I'm the older dude on the tier. So the deputies thought I called the shot. And they shot me with the tasers here, taser hook here. I had to be taken out in a patrol car to outside hospital, actually where I was born, LCMC, Los Angeles County Medical Center in Los Angeles, in the east side of Los Angeles, on East Lake, right next to Central Juvenile Hall. That's where I was born. They take me there to surgically remove the taser hooks, one here and one here. They shot me twice with the taser because they thought I kicked that shit off. When I was trying to avoid it and I was telling people, why should we all sell extract when so and so could have fought his own battle out on that tier when he got slapped? But the cops didn't know that, so they thought I started it, and I got beat down the worst. They broke my nose, both of my orbital bones, dislocated my knee. I mean, what could I do? I had a broken shoulder. I tried when they went in my soul. I had this one, my jab only. My power hand was broken, my shoulder, so it was in a sling. And they tore my sling off, tore my arm, broke my shoulder again. It was already starting to heal. It had already been a couple of weeks. They broke it again and smashed me. So I ended up in an outside hospital. This is the kind of stuff you'll get involved in, kids, if you ever choose to walk that walk called La Vida Loca, Mi Vida Loca. And it's just a mad way to live. I mean, that wasn't my fight, but I still got involved to show the guys, but just because I'm a firefighter doesn't make me a coward. If you all are going to sell a strike, well, I'm going down with you guys, broken shoulder and all. Even though it was not my fight to fight, it was not my battle to fight. It was that dude that was out on the tier without handcuffs. He could have fought his own battle. If that would have been me, I would have said, no, hell no, you guys aren't going to sell extract. This dude slapped me. I'm fighting with him on the tier. He was a big dude, the deputy that slapped him, but so was he. He was like 6'1". I'm 5'4", and if that would have been me and that 6'4" deputy would have slapped me, it would have been on and cracking right then and there. I would have not let you guys sell extract. But this coward and his homie pumped everybody up, so here we are, sell extracting, against a huge extraction team that are all 6'1", 6'2", 6'3", all the gooners, we call them, the goon squad in the L.A. County Jail. They're huge, and they kick your ass. When you don't cuff up and you refuse to give them your food tray, they're coming in to get that food tray, and in the process, they're going to smash you. They hit me with the billy clubs. They shot me with the paintball gun that has mace inside the paintball. They shot me with the Big Bertha, the block gun, because I wouldn't cuff up. They shot threw a stun grenade in my cell. Pellets went everywhere and knocked me on my butt. And then they ran in, after all that, the paintball gun, the block gun. Then they tasered me. They shot me with the, before all that, they shot me with, we call it the fire extinguisher. It's a big, huge canister that shoots mace, pepper spray. They pepper sprayed me, drenched me. I was all orange from my head to my toes. I was all orange because they drenched me in that, and I still wouldn't cuff up. That's when they shot the paintball gun. The paintball gun has mace inside of the paintball, and those paintballs leave big welts on you. It's a AR-15, and on top it has a canister of paint where it shoots paintball. And those things hurt. I had welts all over my face, my body. Like I said, I ended up in an outside hospital. Then they shot me with the block gun, the 37mm. They're supposed to bounce it off the floor and then the bounce hits you, but no, they shot me directly with it. That knocked me on my ass. Then they threw a grenade in my cell because I still refused to cuff up. And those pellets go everywhere when the grenade goes off. It's a stun grenade. And that disorientates you. Disorients you. Disoriented me because of the blast is so loud. And the flashbang grenade, they call them. The pellets, the little rubber pellets, they go everywhere and they hurt like hell too. They knocked me back on my ass. After all that, the mace gun, the 37mm, they drenched me with the fire extinguisher, the mace that they drench you in. After all that, then they threw the grenade in, and then they came in with the gas masks on so that they're not coughing from the pepper spray and all the smoke from the stun grenade. They ran in, and that's when they tasered me. They shot me with the handgun. The taser first hook went here, and then they turned me on. First they shot me. They turned me over. They billy clubbed me, stopped me out with their steel toe boots. Then they turned me on my stomach. They shot me in the back. 2 tasers first. Then they turned me back on my back, from my stomach to my back. That's when they shot me here again with the tasers. One had to be surgically removed from here, and one from my temple, and one from my forehead. And the nurse even said, "But in the forehead, you shot Zambrano in the head, in the forehead and the face with the taser. You could have killed him. Anyway, so they drove me to the hospital, broke both of my orbital bones, my nose, dislocated broke my jaw, dislocated both of my knees. They dragged me out, took me in a patrol car to where I was born, LCMC, outside hospital. Had to surgically remove the taser hook. See, this is the kind of life that you will live, kids, if you happen to walk that walk. You choose to walk that walk that I used to walk. I used to talk the talk and walk the walk, pretty much. And that way of life is nothing nice. You don't win all your battles. Sometimes you get stomped out, shot, like I have a bullet in my spine, beat the hell down. Anyway, I'm going to be sharing a lot more experiences with you kids so you can see that way of life. Like I said, ain't no joke. So best thing to do is be with your family, be with your loved ones. The streets have nothing to offer but death and destruction and imprisonment. That's it. Either you get life in prison, you get killed, you're 6 feet under, or you end up in prison with life. That's the only thing the streets have to offer you kids. Nothing more, nothing less. And you're always at the gambling table with the Grim Reaper and the devil. You're playing their game, see, their card game. And they're going to win every hand. Why? Because you're under their mercy, death and the devil. Because that's the only thing the streets have to offer is death and destruction. Once again, the devil and the Grim Reaper. You're at their table playing their game, and sooner or later you're going to lose completely. You're going to end up either dead, 6 feet under, in prison, doing life. That's it. That's the only thing. That's what you ante up with every time you sit at that table and gamble with the devil and the Grim Reaper. The only thing you got to win when you ante up is death or imprisonment. See, that's it. With those type of odds against me, death and imprisonment, I finally learned that the only way to live life is to ask the Lord God Almighty to come into your heart and to guide you like He did me. Guide me away from that way of life, the behind the walls, hurting people, getting hurt myself, because like I said, you can't win all your battles. So, my nose has been broken, not just in the boxing, but on the streets, street fighting, and in prison by the guards on many occasions. That wasn't my first extraction. I've been in many of them, because that's part of being in that jailhouse. You have to be a writer. You can't just go in there and do your time. You need to run with your people, and every nationality in there has a prison gang. The African American brothers have theirs, the white brothers have theirs, the Mexican, the Chicanos. We have the cartels for the Mexican, and we have our, organization and behind the walls, which I don't like throwing names around once again. That's why I've been alive for these last 55 years, because I've never told on anybody, nor have I funded anybody off. All this stuff I'm talking about is all water under the bridge. I've already done my time for it. And the big guy that I'm referring to, he's already deceased. He's resting in paradise as we speak, and he can't get himself caught up. I never throw his name around in any of these videos, so that's what's kept me alive all these years. I'm not under no witness protection, nor am I hiding from anybody, because I've never told on anybody. I could never find it in my heart to rat anybody off. It's just not me. My dad raised us not to be stool pigeons, so I can't be like those guys that make these videos and talk about they used to be that, and they used to be this, they used to be that, and then they testified and turned over on their people. I could never find that in my heart to do. So, yeah, even like I said, the law enforcement even respect me for that, because I don't blow smoke up their ass, but I don't sit there and lie to them, but I don't make shit up either. I tell it like it is, like I'm doing now. It's always been me, always will be me. So I'll never mislead you kids. I'm telling you that you guys need to learn from my mistakes, that we don't have to feel that pain. Being in the hospital with a bullet in your spine, or getting shot through your lung, and having a chest tube inserted into your lung while you're not even under any type of medication, because you're bleeding internally. If they give you even an aspirin, you'll die of blood poisoning. So you have to feel every inch of that surgery, when they break your rib cage open like they did me, they separate. They call it a rib separator. They stick it into the hole that you make with a scalpel in your side right here in your lung, while this big nurse is holding your arm over your head like this, and you're looking and you're seeing your heart pumping through that hole they just made, the incision they made in your rib cage, and then a nurse brings a rib separator, these two prongs, and they stick in your rib cage, and she turns it and it separates, it breaks your ribs open, and they stick a tube into that one lung that I had left to drain the blood out. And then I flatlined because the trauma was too much for a 14-year-old kid. Okay, so I don't want you kids to have to feel that pain. This is why I'm sharing my testimony with you. That's why God let me come back after I flatlined, after I died. And I saw myself laying there, my mom crying, my spirit coming out of my body. He gave me a second chance. He didn't talk to me. I never heard his voice, but he sends me messages like he did the other day with that guy from the West Side. When I was sharing the story when I went to the West, and I told the guys, hey, you just got out of Palm Hall. I come in peace. They don't want us killing each other. Well, when I was talking to him about that, after I hung up and I shared that part where the preacher man came, because it was like a yearly church group outing. They have a barbecue in the west side of Long Beach. The preacher man came and prayed for me. Well, after I hung up with this dude, after sharing that with him, I said, wow, God just used him as a messenger, because when I told him about this story, now I realize that day that preacher man prayed for me, God must have heard his prayer. And that's why he's sending this dude to talk to me over the internet and say, hey, what I'm doing is all cool, all good. Working with the kids, trying to put them up on game, introducing himself as a homie from the west of Longo, the west side of Longo. He said, when I'm in Vegas, I want to meet with you, me and my wife. I said, sure. I gave him my number. But as I'm sharing that testimony with him, that's after I hung up with him, it came to me. I said, wow, God used him as a messenger to make me realize that day that I went to the West to talk to the homies about them not wanting us to kill each other. Well, when that preacher man prayed over me, that's why God is using him to make me realize that day, that prayer that man made for me from Victory Outreach on the west side of my neighborhood, Long Beach. I'm from the east side. That day he prayed for me. That prayer is what made me finally realize that the streets are nothing nice. That one is not, a person is not born to be violent and to hurt other people. God didn't make us for that. God made us to be free people down here on this earth, to love one another, to help one another, to try to better each other, like I'm doing now with this video. I'm trying to help the kids. That's what God put us on this earth to do, not to kill each other and hurt. It's not in our nature to do that. So that day that man prayed for me, God made me realize is that prayer is what changed my life. In the long run, it took 30-something years after that prayer, but I finally realized it when that man called me over the internet from the west side and said that he sees my videos and he respects what I'm doing with the kids. Well, God used him to make me realize that. See, once again. So that's why I say God works in mysterious ways, kids. He'll send you messages like he did that day with that man when he called me over the internet and I shared that story with him. God made me realize that man's prayer, that preacher man's prayer that day, are what changed my life. In the long run, 30-something years later, now look at me. I don't do drugs. I don't hang out on the streets no more. I'm a square from Delaware, pretty much. I don't. I'm not out there gang banging or hurting people. No, that's not me anymore. So you guys can call it what you want, but in my heart, in Mondo's heart, I know what I'm doing these days is the right thing. I'm no longer locked up. I've been out going on 14 years from prison now. So that man prayer that day, that preacher man's prayers on that in that barbecue on the west side of Long Beach, actually really did help me, because now look at me. I'm doing the right thing these days, and that's all that counts in my book. I'm gonna go ahead and end this for now, but I will be touching on a few more subjects with you people in the near future. So, good night, everybody. I'm pretty tired. I've been to the gym today, worked out, hit the weights, and did a little shadow boxing and all that. So, yeah, I'm tired. Good night, everybody.